Hey, what is up everyone? In this video we're taking a look at how to board. Boarding simply refers to getting on another ship, typically referring to when you're an unwanted visitor. Learning how to board is an important skill to work on mastering, whether you're being chased by another crew or you're the pursuer. This skill can make a big difference in every battle. Prior to Season 12 there were really only a few ways to board another ship. You could try shooting from a cannon and crash landing, you could ram your ship into theirs and jump over, or you could climb their ladder. Now with Season 12 we have an additional way to board that should make battles more interesting. Boarding can be difficult, especially if you're against experienced players, but for this video I want to cover some tips to help you get better at boarding. First, let's cover non-moving ships. Non-moving ships include those that may be parked at an island or ones that you have stopped in a battle, such as with a chain shot or anchor ball. This is typically the easiest type of board since the crew is likely distracted either on the island or busy repairing their ship. Something I always look out for if the ship is parked at an island: do they have their sails up or are they just anchored with their sails down? That's an early indication of the crew's skill level, since more experienced players would know to leave their ship with the anchor raised and the sails up. The biggest thing you'll want to remember is to try to remain stealthy. If you can, try to only store lunge over it instead of shooting off from a cannon so that you don't alert your opponent. As you swim up to the ship, try to stay underwater as much as possible. When you're close to the ship, slow down your swimming to remain as quiet as possible. Typically I will swim underneath the ship and board from the other side. This can help confuse any player that may have been alerted to you. Sound can be very important when boarding. If you can, try to hang on to the ladder and listen out for an opportune time to board. Just don't hang out for too long or else you may attract a shark or a siren that may begin attacking you. What you're trying to listen out for is if the players are either below deck or they're distracted doing something else. That will give you long enough time to climb aboard and tuck, or just attack if that's what you're trying to do. But let's say your opponent knows you're coming and is watching the ladder. Try keeping a blunderbomb or one of the new bone collar throwables handy, as this will be enough of a distraction to get the opponent away from the ladder. Moving on, let's take a look at moving ships. Moving ships are harder since usually the whole crew will be aboard and is likely alerted to you approaching. It is also obviously harder due to just the ship moving in general, so don't feel bad if it takes you longer to get better with this in particular. Most of the time when boarding a moving ship, it will be when you are being chased. I would recommend this video on sailing to help minimize the risk of your ship while off trying to board. Try to sail your ship in a direction that they cannot catch up to you before jumping off. I would also recommend jumping from the front of your ship in case they are watching with a spyglass. As you swim towards the ship, try to stay below water as much as possible and only come up for quick bursts of air. When boarding, you also need to be careful of your mermaid. Crews will be alerted to the sound and the sight of the mermaid, so oftentimes I will swim to where I can get the mermaid a little ways behind me before stopping and waiting for the ship to pass by. Waiting will also help it so that they won't hear you swimming up as much. This can take some time to learn how to position yourself properly, and the best advice I have for you is to just keep practicing. One great way of practicing is just to try boarding a skeleton ship during the skeleton fleet. You can park your ship at Reaper's hideout and shoot from a cannon over to the fleet if it's active, and practice your ability to grab the ladder. Now all of this I have covered so far has been if you're trying to board solo. However, if you're trying to with other crewmates, your chances of success are much higher. If I'm with another crewmate, it will often work well to have each of us take a different side of the ship to board. Doing this helps to ensure at least one of us is successful and gets to cause some chaos on the ship. When you're boarding, it's good to understand what your goal is. You may be trying to tuck, or you could be trying to go for their anchor, or maybe you're just trying to keep them from repairing. Whatever your goal is, let that drive your decisions. For example, if I'm trying to board to keep the rival crew from repairing their mast, I may stay in the water and throw blunderbombs just to keep them in place so they can't repair. Or maybe I'm trying to get on their ship and keep them distracted while my teammate swims up with a keg. There's lots of different reasons to want to board, but understanding what your goal is crucial. Now let's talk about the new way to board in Season 12 of Sea of Thieves. You can now tightrope across with the harpoon, which creates lots of possibilities for boarding. If you're chasing a ship or you're just near them, you can shoot the harpoon over and walk across. With that said though, it's not that simple. You can't use your weapons while you're on the tightrope, and you'll have to worry about balancing while walking across. If you're trying to use this for boarding, you should either try and take out the opponent before crossing over, or have your crewmate stay on the ship and shoot at the other crew. This is important because while you're on the tightrope, you are very vulnerable and an easy target. You should also be careful doing this solo, since the rival crew can also use the same rope to come back to your ship. This feature is still pretty new, so I'm excited to see all the possible potential this new method of boarding may present. With that said, that covers some tips to becoming better at boarding. If you found this helpful, I'd recommend checking out this video on how to utilize the harpoon, or this video on how to tuck. That's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed, it'd be great if you like and subscribe, and until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye y'all.